Sure. So we've got Elijah in New Mexico. You're on with Justin and Matt.
Hey, thanks for taking me. So I grew up Christian, and I've like found a lot of hope and joy and peace and et cetera and all that stuff in Christ. And I figure if there is no God, let's say like I'm just believing a lie, right? And I think that's what you would say. What would you give me as like, you know, to accept truth? Because a lot of Christians, they don't want to believe some certain facts about what they believe, like the slavery in Israel and some of the other like really obscure Old Testament stuff. But they cling to this like idea that Jesus saves them, and that's like they just kind of they want to like deny every other fact. So what do you have as like an atheist to give a better hope than like the resurrection of Jesus that like pays for sin, and that like makes me and other Christians like, you know, feel like there's like a reason that we're alive, and there's like all this stuff.
Sure. So
hopefully that was worded correctly.
I'm interested in like an example of what hope you think you've been given by Jesus. But if in fact you're correct, if in fact your hypothetical is correct, and that all of the hope you have is false, then what I have given you is an elimination of false hope. When you cure cancer, you don't replace it with something else. The curing of the cancer is the reward. That is the healthy system. And so if somebody has filled your head with a bunch of nonsense that isn't true, and it's impacting how you live your life, removing those false beliefs will impact how you live your life, so that you are no longer misled. That is the reward. Not, hey, can I fill you with some other hope? No, if you desperately want to believe that you're going to live forever, then okay, you can keep accepting delusions from anybody who's going to spoon feed you that you're going to live forever. But if you want to have an accurate understanding of this life, where as far as we can tell, this is the one and only life I'm going to get, and that I'm not going to live forever, then that is the reward. Knowing that this is your one shot to interact with people, and that's going to impact how you do it. That is its own reward.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good answer.
Thank you.
So if I were to say that I don't feel like that is like enough for me, I mean, that might just come across as unintelligent, but like there's a lot of Christians who, yeah, I guess some people will just reject that, but.
Well, here's the thing. My only concern about the God thing is there sufficient reason to believe that it's true?
Well, I guess that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like questioning and trying to discover, right?
I haven't yet found sufficient reason to believe that it's true. I find people who, when they go looking, are convinced that there is, and then when I ask them to present it, I get nothing. And in your case, it sounds like you're not necessarily convinced there's sufficient evidence. It's just that you're worried about what happens if you stop believing.
Evidence-based belief, it's its own reward. And I mean, sure, it might not be as great to think that you might be able to live forever or go to heaven. And sure, those are awesome, maybe awesome things that might not, but it's much better to believe in something that's evidential than that's going to set you up for a life that's a lot more reasonable.
So like, what would, like, if you could predict, I guess, I don't know, this may be a bad question because you don't really know me that well, but some random Christian, like, I guess you guys were both, you know, Christians before you became atheists, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you left the church, what was it that like gave you more like hope, or more, you know, like the emotional?
What? Hope for what?
I guess just like the hope that, you know, what you have found in your own belief is like satisfactory to you emotionally.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay. I guess it's a bad question.
It's not I'm not saying it's a bad question. It may be a great question. I'm saying I don't understand what you mean, because when I found my way out of religion, if it's different for different people. There are some people who suffer incredible trauma because of the religion they used to believe. When they find their way out, that they need counseling and they suffer from religious trauma syndrome. For me, it was like stepping outside into a whole new world, because I was no longer subject to assertions that didn't make sense, rules that seemed to be immoral, questions that people just shrugged off, preachers telling me, well, God moves in mysterious ways, all these platitudes and BS. And here's what your job is in life. Here's what your meaning and your purpose is in life. All of a sudden, my meaning and purpose in life were mine. And the decisions that I made, I could take credit for my own actions and take responsibility for my own actions. I don't get to blame anybody else. I don't get to talk about an afterlife. What do I have? What is it that I have hope for? I have hope in human beings getting together to do what we can to solve our problems, because as far as I can tell, that's the only thing that has ever made the world better. No God, no claim about a God, no attempt to impose a claim about a God has ever truly made the world better. You can point to, well, we have hospitals and universities. Yes, we do. But that's because of religious people trying to make the world better, not because of the religion itself trying to make the world better.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard work, Elijah, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I think it's realizing that we have to rely on each other, and and like Matt said, the things that get done have to get done by us. So a lot, it might be an easier time to think that there's a God who's in control of everything, and we don't have to worry about the environment or the earth or stuff like that, or climate change, because God's going to take care of it. No, we have to make the hard choices, and we have to do the work. And it's it's a hard thing when I came out, it was a hard thing to realize that I needed to be more proactive in getting things done, and I needed to do my part to help out. But it's the only way we have. It's the only evidence-based option that we know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be dismissive. If you come up with a better way to phrase what it is that you're looking for, I mean, Justin, you can email us. Justin and I, either one, would be happy to try to dig in a little better.
Yeah.
But it's like when people say, without Christ, where is your hope? Where's my hope in what? Because generally, when I was a Christian, my hope in Christ was for an afterlife, not for this life. We're not guaranteed. Christianity doesn't guarantee you anything in this life, doesn't guarantee you another minute. The only guarantee that Christianity tries to offer is whether or not you are going to spend eternity with the Father. That's it. And that's what the hope is, because you can have an absolutely miserable life here. And that's because that's what is happening according to God's plan. So any Christian who talks about hope for a good life in this world doesn't know the Bible, doesn't know Christianity. The only hope in Christianity.
Right, I would agree with that.
Yeah, the only hope for an afterlife. That hope for an afterlife is only hope. That's the only hope. And I prefer to focus on this.
I would say one thing though. I think you mentioned how like when you asked preachers and stuff about like these questions and they would just kind of shrug it off. I feel like, in a sense, my experience has been a little bit different, where they're kind of like, okay, yeah, let's talk about this and let's, go through it. And, I still have questions. I feel like the people, like the Christians I have, are giving me some like good, like they're actually valuing my questions. They're not just like shrugging them off. And I don't want to say that like, because of that, I'm right, but I don't know. It's a big search.
Yeah, it's a lot. And here's something, I'm going to make a recommendation that we make all the time, and you've probably heard it, but you should contact Recovering from Religion. It is not just for atheists. It's for anybody who's questioning, anybody who's struggling. There are experts there. They can direct, if you need therapy, they can direct you to the Secular Therapist Project. They can address all kinds of stuff, but there are people that you can generally talk to. And I'd also point out that our Discord server has people on there who, as far as I know, would be eager to have a conversation with you. And hopefully all of them are probably nicer than I am. And I don't think I mistreated you at all during this call.
No, yeah, I think you were very respectful.
Anyway, I appreciate your time. We're going to try to get to one more call before the show's over. But yeah, drop in on the Discord and check out Recovering from Religion and call us back. If something about your situation changes or you have other questions.
Or send an email. Either way.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy to hear from you. Thanks, Elijah.